It's a big day. Your podcast is ready to launch. Now you just need a place to host it. That's where Buzzsprout comes into play. Buzzsprout has helped over 100,000 podcasters get their message out to the world, and they're ready to help you do the same. They make it easy to manage your show, get listed in major directories like Apple Podcasts, and provide you with advice and guidance in all of your podcasting endeavors. You can earn a $20 Amazon gift card by signing up and hosting your podcast through Buzzsprout today. Just click the link in the show notes of this episode to get started. Welcome to Pod Theory, a podcaster's podcast with me, Jason Cercone. Pod Theory is set to serve you your daily dose of top-tier podcasting tips, strategies, and commentary. Whether you're starting a fresh podcast or looking for ways to improve your existing show, my goal is to help you every step of the way. Let's get today's session started. Hello again, fellow podcaster, and welcome back to Pod Theory. As always, I'm your host, Jason Cercone, and today we're going to take a look at 4 ways to work ads into your podcasts so listeners hear them. Now, today's episode of Pod Theory is going to be a little different than normal. My goal today is to show you the various ways that you can work ads into your podcasts by working ads into this podcast. You've heard the first way, because when you hit play, my Buzzsprout ad kicked off the show. This type of ad is known as a pre-roll. It's heard before anything else takes place on the show, including the theme music. A pre-roll is a great way to drop your ad early in your podcast and put it front of mind for your listeners. Especially on a shorter podcast, much like Pod Theory, putting the ad in the beginning is a great way to get everybody's attention right off the bat. The next way to work an ad into your podcast is in the middle of your content. This is called a mid-roll. You can set up a mid-roll by letting your listener know that you're about to take a break, or you can let your ad start with a seamless transition between sentences. If you're looking for the best beer selection on tap and to carry out, look no further than Mike's Beer Bar and North Shore Tavern. Located in the heart of Pittsburgh's North Shore, right across the street from PNC Park, Mike's Beer Bar is home to 80 taps and over 500 beers in-house. No matter what style quenches your thirst, Mike's has it ready and waiting. North Shore Tavern is the home of Steak on a Stone, an offering that will make any steak lover's day. The food menu at Mike's and North Shore Tavern also features a rotating selection of sandwiches, salads, burgers, and much, much more. Lunch, dinner, or a late night snack paired with your favorite beer. You'll always find it on the hottest corner in the North Shore. Visit mikesbeerbar.com and northshoretavern.com to learn more and discover why so many of your friends are saying, "Meet me at Mike's." And once the ad is done, your recording picks up right where it left off. Now, this is the method I prefer. I feel the likelihood of someone listening to your ad increases if it's placed between content that they don't want to miss. A verbal cue that a break is coming is typically when people hit the fast forward button, or go grab a snack, or hit the restroom, etc., etc. A third way to work an ad into your podcast is by doing a live read, and this is very, very popular on radio and on podcasts. Live reads can be done on the fly, with much of the content being ad-libbed. With a live read, the advertiser will typically provide a list of hot points that you're going to want to touch on, like product info, current specials, new product releases, calls to action, website, social media, things like that. Live reads, and just about any podcast ad for that matter, will often contain an offer code, and it's usually a unique link so that the advertiser can measure the ad's effectiveness on the show that it's placed. This way they'll know that this ad is generating traffic and they can continue to invest in that podcast. Now, here's what a live read might sound like, and I'm going to do this for the Business Equation podcast, which is a show that I help produce. Okay, before we go any further, I want to give you a hot podcast tip. If you're looking for a podcast that provides tremendous business insight, can help you grow as a professional, teaches you the true mindset that you need to be an entrepreneur, and will help take you and your business to the next level, you need to listen to the Business Equation podcast today. The Business Equation podcast is hosted by Nick Bogaz, who himself is a self-made small business success story. Nick used to work 90 hours a week at 5 different jobs, and he finally decided to take that big leap into the entrepreneurial world, and he started his own pizza shop. And I've known Nick now for a good 5 or 6 years, and I've personally got to watch his brand grow. And over the years, Nick has become a great friend and a great business partner. And I'm very happy to help him produce the Business Equation, where he connects with entrepreneurs all over the globe and talks about their struggles, their successes, and it gives you the insight that you need where you can learn from those mistakes and learn from those successes and truly make something of your entrepreneurial journey. Each episode is jam-packed with tremendous content. New episodes drop every Monday, and Nick is all about giving back to the small business community. His goal is to help business professionals evolve, help them get the tools that they need to succeed, and ultimately he wants to see you write your own success story too. So once you're done listening to this podcast today, jump over to your podcast app of choice, subscribe to the Business Equation podcast, get caught up on some episodes you missed, and get ready to hear new episodes as they come out. Again, every Monday, new episodes of the Business Equation podcast come your way, hosted by Nick Bogaz. You can also learn more about Nick and the show by visiting nickbogaz.com. Cannot recommend that to you guys enough. All right, let's continue with today's show. Now, as your podcast grows, the chances of landing a big ticket advertiser increases. Podcast advertising is based on a term called cost per mil, or cost per 1,000 listeners. According to AdvertiseCast, podcast ad averages are about $15 for a 10-second ad, about $18 for a 30-second ad, and roughly $25 for a 60-second ad. So you can do the math, and as I said, as your audience grows, it's going to give you more of an opportunity to increase that ad bid, and it's going to show those advertisers that you have listeners that will be engaged with their content, with their advertisements. And if they're listening to your show, the likelihood of them listening to that ad is very high as well. Now, as the podcasting medium has expanded and evolved over the years, advertisers have become much more comfortable placing ads on this platform because they know those advertisements are going to reach an engaged audience. In fact, according to our friends at Wordstream, 75% of podcast listeners not only pay attention to podcast ads, but they also follow specific calls to actions after hearing them. Personally, I absolutely fall into that category, and I'm going to tell you all about that on the next episode of Pod Theory. The best way to maximize ad value is to feature ads for products and services that are going to appeal to your target audience. Now, for example, here on Pod Theory, it would make sense for me to run ads from a recording equipment company, as those would most likely resonate with you, a fellow podcaster. On the flip side, an ad for a nutritional supplement may not have the same impact here as it does on a podcast about health and fitness. Now, before we wrap up, the last way to work an ad into your podcast is at the very end of the show. This is called the outro. It's your last chance to hit your listener with some relevant information and a call to action. It's always a good move to conclude with a call to action, because the next thing your listener may do is heed your advice and take action based on your ad or your recommendation. And that's going to do it for this session of Pod Theory. If our time together helped you get a better understanding of podcast ads, please take 30 seconds to rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts. Thank you in advance. Good talk. I'll see you back here tomorrow. This has been Jason Cercone on Pod Theory. Thank you for listening to today's session of Pod Theory. If you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share to spread the word and spread the love. Visit jasoncercone.com to connect with me and plug into additional resources that will help you step up your podcasting game. I'll see you back here next time for a new installment of Pod Theory. Still listening? Good. Here's an outro ad to wrap up the show. If you like Pod Theory, then you'll love my YouTube channel. In addition to all the episodes of my podcast, I'm also using YouTube to share additional content about the art and business of podcasting, and a whole lot more. The full launch of my YouTube channel is coming soon, so please visit youtube.com/Jason Cercone today, get subscribed, and click on the little bell in the top right corner so you'll be the first to know when new content goes live. That's youtube.com/Jason Cercone.